Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Do we have minutes of the last meeting?
We do. There's copies on the side, so if anybody wants them.
What's over here?
For last meeting, we had main job was to look at the Greenleaf Township plan and kind of get some idea of what the township would look like in the future. And I had 9 bullet points under that. Geographic locations are the same as they always been. Land use development pattern. Current land use is agricultural, 10,579 acres agricultural. It was a rezoning, we're looking at rezoning M53 from Market to basically right here, basically Forest Road. Current wording in the master plan is insufficient. So we need to start making a map of commercial, industrial, large business, small business, home businesses, those kind of things.
Use the microphone.
So get that.
Can you hear me now? We're not losing. Do this all over. There's currently 3-phase electricity along M53 and along basically Forest Road. So we need to reconsider our master plan about every 5 years. Grounds on water resources, if we want in the future to design the township, to design the township engineers, redesign that. The township engineers indicated that road ditches are by far the best way to go about that. If we put these ditches across fields and things, that's going to start getting expensive. So just to keep that in mind. Population of Amish families has grown from 153 5 years ago to over 200 today. So we're doing well. Any large businesses need to be bonded. So that way if they tear up the roads or whatever, they fix it. Our educational medical statuses need to be updated. We need municipal services at a bare minimum. The rural character of our township is something we like to preserve. So, we'll do that. Effectively, that's what to preserve and protect the prairies that were exposed by fire in the 1881 fire. Fortunately, I think somebody got in there recently. That's the damage. The local indigenous people who lived these prairies back in 1829, so they're at least predate that. And I had a note at the bottom of the minutes that all of these minutes will be available to the general public by the township board.
Any additions or corrections? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
So moved.
So moved. Supported?
We gotta do something with this large business need to be bonded. No.
Yeah, how do we define that?
Yeah. We talking building sites, building, property, yeah.
What was in the back of my mind as I was going over that? Was that the big farm?
And I think that was in reference to the farms, because so much of what they do is really hard on the roads. And it's standard procedure to bond them so that there's money to repair the roads in case they're torn up.
The new tower over here was bonded. 25,000. Things like that.
Okay, those in favor of approving as corrected, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, the same sign. It appears to have passed. What I have in mind for tonight, you're welcome to come up and get some copies. These are just blank maps. Well, they're not blank maps. They're maps that I made up a number of years ago indicating when and where in the township records can be found the laying out of the roads in the township. You'll see there's one going from the southwest corner up toward the northeast. That's an old road. Would have been built in probably the 1840s, maybe even a little bit earlier. Really very soon after the land was ceded to us by the Indians. But anyhow, my intent is, this has got the road names on them, and I think there are gaps where we don't have any roads, and you'll see roads drawn in where it doesn't look like we have any roads, but we have road right-of-way. And that means we can build a road there anytime that we want to. We have maintained that right, even though there is no road there. And we have road right-of-way virtually every mile going in every direction. There are a couple of road right-of-ways that are half mile, but almost everything is going clear across the township from north to south or east to west. You'll find some of them like Robinson Road, Cassidy Road, Germania Road, Bad Axe Road do not have any dates on them, and that's because they were designated roads before we became a township. We became a township in 1864, which incidentally was the year Lincoln was reelected to a second term. So, you know, we go back a long ways, but some of the roads go back even further than that. And that's just, these are for you to scribble on. And I thought we ought to be talking about where in the future we want to have road improvements. Now, not that the board would be bound to this at all. It would be purely advisory, but where we as a planning commission or as a master plan, where we think we might need some additional roads. And then we need to look at areas where we would find it acceptable to rezone it industrial, acceptable to rezone it commercial, acceptable to rezone it small business, where we would find it acceptable to have a subdivision, where we would find it acceptable to grow medicinal plants. Did I say that nicely? Where we would find it acceptable to have solar energy farms, and where we would find it acceptable to have windmills, all of these sorts of, and where we would find it acceptable to have a subdivision. Now, not that we're necessarily going to build or encourage the building of these things, but if we don't have this in our master plan, somebody can come in and build anywhere they darn well please, and we have nothing to say about it. For instance, if somebody came in and said they wanted to build a subdivision a mile off Bay City Forest Road, let's say in New Greenleaf, if we didn't have a place designated for a subdivision already, then we have nothing to say about it. They can just come in and do it. We have no way to stop them. But if we designate an area as a possible place for a subdivision, then that means they have to negotiate with us before they can just build it wherever they want. We can put restrictions on it. We may be able to say no entirely. But we don't have anything to say about it unless we've designated an area that we would find acceptable. So those are the things we want to talk about tonight. Now, we already have these things in the master plan, but we may want to change it. This is our opportunity to change it because we're reviewing the master plan, and we can make any kind of changes we want. Now, I do want everybody to look at it and think carefully about it, and maybe not make any, I don't want to make any hard, fast decisions tonight, because I want to put more thought into it than that. And I'd like to talk to more people and get more opinions, because this is going to affect the development of the township in the future. and we need to have just as much input in it as we possibly can. But I think we need to start discussing these things. And since this is a map of the roads, I think the question comes up, do we have roads every place we want them to be? I know the Amish would very much like to have Cedar Road go clear through to Gilbert. They also would like to have Gilbert Road go clear through to the Township line, to Robinson Road, because that would make things easier for them. They also would like those roads to be just kind of two tracks so that nobody will use them except the Amish. But
Well, if they want to pay for them.
yeah, I hope we can keep the idea of paying for it really out of these discussions. What we're talking tonight is, if we could have anything we wanted, what would we want? Now, obviously, we're not going to be able to say, yes, next year we're going to put that road through, because we have nothing to say about it. That's up to the township board. They have total authority over where roads are going to be. But we can put in the master plan where we think it would be a good idea to have road improvements. So that's just all we're looking for, where we think it would be a good idea. If you had all the money in the world to play with, would you make any changes in our road system? Would you put any more roads through where they do not now exist? Would you improve any of the gravel roads to blacktop? Would you improve any of the blacktop roads to all-weather roads? Would you improve any of the all-weather roads to Class A roads?
I have a question.
Yes.
You said that, you mentioned the roads the Amish would like to see go through. Years ago, bad acts between Spencer and Holbrook did not go through.
Right.
Once that road was built, does that receive a lot of traffic now? I mean,
Okay, you say between Spencer
and Holbrook.
and Holbrook. Okay, that's where it crosses the river.
Yeah. For years, that was,
Well, the bridge was out.
the bridge was out. And it was basically abandoned, and then they went and rebuilt.
Well-
Is there a lot of, my question is, there a lot of traffic on that road now?
And only one guy complained and we built the road. So one person, the rest of them.
What about speed limits on,
About what?
speed limits on frequently traveled roads? Since Robinson's built, down there all the way to the dairy barn, they come sailing through there. I talked to Gary Benicki a little bit about it. He said I think start with the planning commission on that. I don't know what the process is, but it would.
You're talking from, what, Leslie to Germania?
I'm thinking right from 53 down there. I don't know how many times I come out of my driveway. There's that little hill there to the east. If I go out in the morning and I'm down to the stop sign, there's a truck or a car right behind me. They come from nowhere. And Mr. Benicki there said to start out with the planning commission on that.
So you're suggesting reduce it from 55?
Yeah.
Right now, 55 is legal.
Yeah.
They can
35. I mean, it's a busy road. It's a really busy road.
So it's ours.
I don't think we can do that, because
I don't see where we can do that.
they said you could put a Jake brake sign out here, but we can't enforce it. No Jake brakes. All you can do is speed limit, unless you hire a constable.
Yeah, and enforcement is a big issue. I'm trying to think. The planning commission has control over, or has something to say about land use. Now, is the speed limit land use? Certainly building the road is land use, but speed limit, I'm not sure is land use. Now, there's no question the township can pass an ordinance, but I think that kind of an ordinance has to be passed by the township board. Well, of course, any ordinance ultimately has to be passed by the township board.
I was led to believe the planning commission first, but I may be wrong on it.
Well, but in any case, all we can do is make recommendations to the township board. I didn't put that down, but certainly that would be something we should put down is speed limits. Are there areas where we want it to be less than the maximum day-night speed?
Mr. Benecki said it could be enforced, should it happen.
Oh, it can be enforced. Now, it would be up to them to enforce it largely,
Yeah.
because while we can prescribe fines for it, it's pretty hard for us to catch up to them and enforce it.
Would that be all the roads in?
I'm not sure you could do it on all roads,
I mean,
on
gravel
a
roads.
particular road.
I think that's the trade-off you get for having a good road. You're gonna get this
You do like a study,
traveling at a high rate of speed on it.
do like a study on it or something.
I'm not sure we need,
There's gonna be a wreck on that road yet.
yeah, on the surface, it seemed like an awfully good idea. I think we need to think more about it. I think we need to talk to more people and find out, what more people think. We certainly could make that recommendation if that's what the general opinion would be. I would not want to recommend it for all gravel roads in the township,
I know
but that's a unique one.
our first mile there, we got 5 houses on that one side. Well, there's little kids, and then you got the Amish. It's a busy little section right there.
Yeah, I can understand the concern.
Can you check into that by getting a hold of the county and Sheriff Benecki and asking and getting more information before the next meeting?
Absolutely can. If we were to do that, are there any other roads that you would feel the same way about? I mean, everybody wants traffic to slow down in front of their place, but,
Our road, it's
Yeah.
as bad as Robinson Road.
yeah,
You got the auctions 3 nights a week, you got
Yeah.
the trucks.
yeah.
And you got 30 ton of milk, whatever they weigh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
coming out through there.
Log
Yeah.
trucks, semis.
Semis.
Yep.
And I'm sure Leslie Road between Robinson and Cass City Road would be the same way, because the trucks, we went through that just a couple of days ago, and there are potholes everywhere. That's a mess, and it's all because of the trucks and the manure spreaders, and, they're just too heavy for that kind of a road. Yeah, there's not much we can, I'm thinking, had we had our choice, we might want to have blacktopped Leslie Road. But then it would not have been usable in the spring, and in the worst weather, they would have been back on the gravel road again. So, you haven't solved the problem. And school buses contribute to it too, more than you might think. School buses are not that heavily loaded, but they stop and start in the same place all the time. And that makes its own unique mess. What do you think? Don't be so quiet.
I guess I'd like to see some speed limits, especially on Cass City Road, on that Robinson as well. And any place there's high traffic, I don't see a problem with speed limits. But like I say, enforcement is going to be a tough job.
It would make sense they wouldn't be torn up so fast.
Yeah.
Should be going so fast.
And if folks keep driving that fast, you can always call, they'll put somebody there, but watch it for a while.
It wouldn't take too many tickets and people would understand.
So what kind kind of speed limit are you suggesting?
35 sound reasonable? I mean, it's just, most of the traffic in that 4-mile stretch is going to them businesses or to the auctions or down to the dairy. Past that, I don't know. I don't know that there's that much.
Yeah. Now let's consider the law of unintended consequences. If we were to put a speed limit of 35 miles an hour on Robinson Road, coming in from N53, what would that do to the traffic pattern? Would it just shift to some other road?
Well, I think, would it?
Sure, there's no over 35 miles an hour, especially with truck.
I don't
So
know.
put it on all the main roads that go to that business, on all the side roads that go to that business. So no matter what, it won't shift because you gotta go 35 on every road.
I just don't see how you can.
No, I think you could do it on one road or maybe two roads. I don't think we could
Then
do
what
it.
happens? Then somebody up here says, okay, they got a 35
Exactly.
mile line slowed down too.
I got garbage trucks go by, and they're moving all
Oh,
over
yeah.
the Force Road, they don't waste no time.
I don't know, between 35 and 55, they're coming down there to the sale rather than go around the mile. I think they'd slow it down to 35 for that, you know, that 3 miles. The auction house is 2 miles down
They go
here.
more than 35 with their manure tankers.
Yeah.
Oh, heavens, yes. We had a hand for that.
Can, listen to these comments, to make a motion, or not a motion, but something to the township board about making a designated haul route out of that large dairy farm that doesn't go down through a highly residential area. I mean, we look at Leslie Road, we have one person that lives on Leslie Road. Make that their designated haul route in and out. And then if they violate the haul road, they contact your county master.
That's hard to do too though, because they're going,
It's not.
no, think about this, they're bringing crops in from all directions. They're taking manure out of all directions.
Farm Act and then, yep.
How are you gonna make a designated haul road? What are they gonna have to do, add 4 extra miles onto their trip?
Well, you drive up from the county north of us, and they have, those large dairy farms have one way in and one way out. And that's the way they are allowed to do it.
And that's common sense, because then the township is only fixing 1 or 2 roads instead of all of these roads.
The company I work for, we have one way in to our place and one way out.
One
And if we go
concern,
someplace else, we get ticketed, a ticket.
yeah, I wish we'd had this conversation several years ago, because it seems to me the high population roads are those roads where we just, we and Evergreen Township just finished putting $300,000 worth of road rebuilding on them.
Did we bond that road that we just fixed?
Do you know the
I
answer?
don't believe we did.
No, we talked about it. That one.
Why didn't we?
I thought we did. I thought there was money on deposit for repair of that road if it got torn up.
I think they only paid $15,000 to go towards that road. But I don't remember the board saying they bonded that road.
Which in reality, that 15,000.
I don't think they really mentioned bonding, they mentioned that he was gonna do maintenance on it.
He agreed he would do maintenance on it.
Yeah, which is essentially
He
bonding.
felt,
Maybe
he
not.
felt his operation was responsible, he would pitch in additional.
So
Maintenance.
there was no contract, just his word that he
Well,
would.
township would have to bond it. But the county, they'd have to come and look at it, do the bonding, whatever, and then go back to him.
But you guys discussed it
So we have
last
an agreement,
time,
gentleman's agreement.
the bond stuff.
All we have is a gentleman's agreement at this point.
That's probably
But
right.
that,
Randy, would you, well,
how does that bonding work? Because I know he is bonded, because I know they took money out of his bonding on other roads in other townships. So how does that work? Does that bonding cover here too? I mean, how does that work? I'm not sure how that bonding works.
I suspect that we would have to have a separate bond for that 1 mile. I suspect, I'm not sure. Let's try to find that out.
And he's an evergreen. His property is an evergreen. He may be bonded with evergreen,
Yeah.
and we're across the line.
A lot of your bonding has to do with the road commission. Townships really don't have anything to do with the bond. He would have bonded with the road commission.
Okay, that's
The
what I meant.
The bonding comes from frost laws going on.
And I know he's bonded with the road commission because I know the road commission has done work on roads and pulled it out of his bond. And that is a good way.
Townships don't have anything to do with the bonding for like his operation. He has bonding through the road commission. The road commission makes him bond. 'Cause that's, you know, that's
So
township
would
road.
our road be covered under that bonding is what I,
If Sanilac County has a bond on it, makes him bond on it.
Can you check into that, Mr. Brown, for the next meeting?
I believe I could.
Thank you.
Yeah, because the frost laws are on it, they can bond the road, Sanilac County will come and look at the road, they'll do their haul, whatever they gotta do, come back and look at the road, it's fine, that's it. Is it like $8,000 a mile or $10,000 a mile for bond, something like that?
I wish they had made Cass City Road into an all-weather road. That would have made life so much simpler.
Well, they did.
I,
know it's Class A, I don't know if it's all one.
Cass City Road is?
It's a Class A road, I don't know if it's all one. What's the difference?
Seasonal class A.
I thought they did not.
I don't
We wanted them to, and
know.
something else we need to find out. Because if that were so, then
The log trucks from Cleveland Road, the county let them run on gravel roads to get to Class A, not on blacktop. And they would come down the right road and go 53.
Right.
They would not go down,
not to Cass City Road.
no,
Now you can come out that way, gravel road to the blacktop.
yeah, not, but they,
Gravel roads to the state highway,
Yeah.
not to blacktop.
they did not go to Cass City Road. They went out our road to get to 53, to get to Class A. So does that tell you Cass City Road is not Class A?
As far as I know, just the stock yards, that's it.
Just do the stock yards. Okay.
Do the stock yards, they did, but that's,
I think when they rebuilt it last time, they made it a Class A road. They made Class A roads all around the town.
I don't know.
I'll find out.
Yeah, we're gonna have to check that out. I suspect it is not true. I think probably, it's my understanding that Bay City Forestville Road from N53 to New Greenleaf
Years ago,
is Class A road.
to get to the elevator, years ago.
And then Cass City Road to the stockyard.
53, basic forest roads, class A, all the way to Booth Road.
Okay,
Okay? You would know.
yeah, a trucker would know.
Now, there is talk of making Germain from Cass City to Deckerville Road, Class A,
From Cass City to Deckerville Road, okay?
when they repave again, which I thought was gonna be this year, but
One thing that, when you're working on this, the township below us has 3 more mills to work with than we do. But they're splitting up their township, so everybody is 2 miles from a blacktop or likes of that, they're going beyond that. You're looking at a future plan here.
Yep.
And, they, as far as roads, they've been way ahead of us for a long time. But they vote millage, and they get it done.
Yep. And Austin, in that respect, Austin has done a real good job in the last few years too. Although, you can correct me if I'm wrong, when we did the line, Mad Axe Road is the line between Greenleaf and Austin Township. And when they were doing their work on Bad Axe Road, they wanted us to share the cost because they couldn't afford it. And I think we paid 50% of the cost building road for which they were responsible. So I think they've done.
Austin, you said?
Yep.
This township paid,
We paid, I believe, half the cost. It may not have been half the cost, but we made a significant contribution toward Bad Axe Road between Bay City Forestville Road and Cumber Road.
What year?
I don't know, 1995, 1990,
So a while ago.
but those roads were terrible until then. They were, well, the one was impassable because the bridge was up, and the other mile of it was, it's bad now, but it was worse then.
That first mile, bad most of the time, not so much traffic on it.
then why was Austin Township so nasty to us when they wanted to do some?
Well, that was my question. It irritated me when someone was here telling what a good job they were doing and what a rotten job we were doing,
Yeah.
but I didn't bring it up. So, what do you think? 2 miles of blacktop, either Singer Road or Gilbert Road, would bring everybody within, what, a mile and a half of blacktop?
Cassidy Road, and you got Bay City Road. The blacktop, after the road built, is gonna cost well over $100,000.
Yep.
About 300,000 miles.
300.
And if you're talking Cedar Road, it's gonna be more than that. That's a mess up
But
too.
once, let me see if this is right too, once it's blacktop, then it's the road commission's responsibility, we don't have to pour any money into it anymore.
It becomes the county responsibility, except that they can decide that they can't afford it and turn it back to us. But, yes, that's the way things are now. Once it's blacktop, it becomes county responsibility. Now, that's only true in this county. That's not true in all counties.
Getting over to the county line, Cedar Road, there's a lot of traffic coming out because there's no roads and the rivers involved in there. And, the other side of 53. And this side, but Hadley Road gets a tremendous amount of traffic now. Coming out, Jackson, Sigurd coming down. Hadley's been really bad, north and right. Heading up to Sigurd's really been bad, all the way up through there.
By the way, I misspoke myself on that mile of Van Axe Road. The mile immediately south of Bay City Forestville Road is our responsibility. Not theirs. They have no responsibility in that. It would have been.
Bay City to Holbrook.
Yeah, in fact, our responsibility is the first 3 miles from the county line, Bay City Forestville, from Bay City Forestville to Holbrook, from Holbrook to Cumber. The one that we helped with was in, no, I missed one, Spencer.
That's true.
Between Spencer and Cumber was the one that we helped with. Your uncle would know better than I. He was clerk at the time. So, do we have enough to think about on that?
I have one question since I wasn't at the last meeting. It says rezoning of M53 from Bartnick's to basically Forestville Road. Now, you're considering rezoning that?
Future. Not now.
Not now.
Okay, so you just want to add it to the master plan that you would consider, that's the first step to rezoning.
Right.
So that's what you did at the last meeting, proposed that.
Parcel of residential, commercial.
We talked about it. We didn't vote on anything. We talked about it.
Because that would be a good area to be commercial, considered for commercial.
Okay, let's get on to that then.
Well, another thing too, and these roads you're talking about, it would be okay, but why can't, like right now, they're grinding 53 and that, why doesn't the township get the millings for future roads? Pretty good base.
Yeah.
They did that when your uncle was on the
Here in county used to too.
county road commission. They rebuilt Tremania Road, and they brought in all of the grinding from someplace. But it made a wonderful base. Tremania Road is starting to get some cracks in it now, but how long's it been there?
Well, they're talking, we're not doing that right soon.
Why Huron County no longer does that is, like Ken said, they used to take all their millings and put them down for a base, and then they put gravel on top.
Yeah.
That gravel on top would turn to mud in the spring or whenever it rained.
But they used it for roads that they plan on paving in the future too.
They put it down as a base, and they put limestone and gravel over top.
Oh, it wouldn't drain, would it? It would pack in and not drain.
And crushed asphalt gets so hard that the water cannot go through it.
What happened on Germanian Road, they put about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 6 inches of those grindings on, and then they let people drive on it for a year, and then they blacktop immediately over that without any other gravel.
You can't put it down for a base and then put gravel over top of it.
Yeah.
They've quit doing it up there. They've taken some of it in the past 4 years and they'll put it down on like their unapproved roads. That they don't have a plan on doing anything. They'll use it there, but they quit doing that like 5 years ago.
We talked to doing Cedar Road, there's a hole down there, we could put 3 or 4 miles and everything was in.
Yeah, you get a whole lot in there. Okay, let's move on then to rezoning. Now, we can go back to this anytime. You know, right now, industrial, the only spot that we have zoned industrial is the first mile in from M53 on Cass City Road, on 81. On the right side, that's industrial, where coal carbide is. And the intent was that would be enough industrial to last us for a long time, but since then, coal carbide, I think, has bought it all. So, I don't know that we have any other place that's designated industrial. When there starts to become competition for it, then it's time for us to designate some additional areas. Now again, we're not saying that we're going to go through and build this, but rather we're going to have a place for it so that if somebody wants to come in and build an industrial facility, we've got some negotiating room. Okay, that's all this is for, it's just negotiating room.
I go for the gas main. The gas main comes up from the south and turns into Cass City. Down where Wild John's is, where Ossentowski is, and on the other side, you get down further, that's unbuildable.
Right.
You've only got 3/8 of a mile there that's any good.
Yep.
Then it goes into white marl underneath that black. And, but there's a situation right there that could be, industry's gonna want that gas.
Yes. Any other thoughts on that?
Last time we said we wanted to preserve the agricultural community we have. Are these things doing that?
Yeah. if it is your wish to not have any additional industrial, then this is the way to do that. You know, the way to do it really would be to designate industrial in an area that was totally unbuildable. So yes, we have designated an area. You're not happy with what we've designated, go someplace else.
Wouldn't it make sense though to have an area bordering that industrial area now that would be considered for industrial? I mean, if an opportunity rises where somebody wants to come in and create a lot of jobs,
You're not gonna turn it down.
you're not gonna turn them down, so it would be wise to maybe enlarge that industrial area further to the east.
To the east and to the south, southwest corner, 53, maybe one. Lease is already there, and that gas company, there's one big open field.
Yeah. So you're suggesting the south side then of 81 in that first mile?
Keep it all together,
Yeah, well, that would make sense.
gas and three-phase.
And industry come in, some of that stuff could bleed. I don't know whether you call waste industries or consider.
Pay their taxes.
That's right.
And there isn't anything about what we're talking that would change the taxes or anything like that. You know, that doesn't push it into a developmental area. You know, this is just looking ahead in the future. If we needed more industrial area, where would we want it to be? And it would make sense to have it across the road from Colgar, right, where Racematech and let's see, I think Balls own some of that in there yet. And the fuel gas, or ferrogas. Yeah, once you get to the hill, you may be a little too far. But yeah, from that, well, from the first mile from Van Dyke, yeah. Now, while we're at it, do we want to go a little bit to the south?
And an industry comes in, they could afford to pay to extend the gas main too. Even north a little bit, or, like, you can't go very far east, it drops right off.
Can't go very far south either.
No.
No.
Rivers there.
Thunder Road Raceway.
Now, that would be an ideal spot.
That side. All the way to right road.
Well, my thinking at this point is if we designated as potential industrial that area on the south side of 81, at least we've got negotiating rights. If somebody comes in and wants to build, then we can say, well, if you're not happy with this, okay, what about the old racetrack? You know, it gives us something to talk about. We're talking from a position of strength then rather than a position of weakness.
And I'm sure Carbide would sell it.
If the price was right, they might share.
One thing about their land, there's no houses there. Yep. You don't have to worry about neighbors being unhappy.
Yeah, except on M53, and they own that.
Well, that's true, yeah.
They just walked where that trailer house is also, that Ken, they just got that.
Yeah. So they must have plans. They must have some plans then.
Okay, moving on. What about commercial? Now, when we talked about it once before, remember I made a motion that we change to commercial zoning everything a mile north of M53 or a mile north of 81 on M53 on both sides of the road. We were told that we can't do it. And the reason we couldn't do it is because whoever previously did the master plan didn't put that in there as a possibility. Now is our chance to change the master plan, and then if we want to sometime in the future, we can change that to commercial.
What you're looking at there, I see a lot of activity around this four corner right here too. We need to look at that also.
Yeah. Currently, our commercial is, what, a quarter of a mile each direction from the M53 and 81 corner, and a quarter of a mile each direction from the Bay City Forestville Road in 53 corner.
We, in the last zoning ordinance, in the plan, took that, on that side, out. Bay City Forestville, that quarter mile south on the west side, took that out. And,
Okay.
and you can put it back in. That was the lawyer from Lapeer.
Yeah.
Didn't like as much industrial or as much commercial.
Yeah, and I understand where he's coming from. He's coming from an area where there's a lot of high commercial pressure, and they really value the open land, and so he wanted to make sure that ours was protected, and instead found out that we kind of value the commercial.
And your master plan is looking at 10, 15, 20 years from now.
Yep. You know, we value the ag and open spaces, but we also value jobs. I guess that's where it's at. Whatever we can do to help some of our local people get employment, because so many of our kids have had to move away to get jobs.
You've seen in the school census, though, the children is held pretty good. Marlette was the only one on the thumb that had a serious deficit.
But you realize we have almost exactly half the number of school children in the public schools in Tuscola County that we did 30 years ago. Reduced by 50% in 30 years. Now, some of that is because of homeschooling. A good deal of it is because of the Amish school. I'm talking about the public schools.
Mennonite too.
Yep, and Mennonite. They're being drawn off in a lot of different directions.
Church schools, Deepwood.
So what do you think about commercial? And then I want to introduce another thought. We used to have commercial at New Greenleaf. We used to have commercial at Old Greenleaf. We used to have commercial at Wickware. We used to have commercial, well, Holbrook was before zoning. But there were a number of spots around. And for a while there wasn't any need because everybody could get to town. But now we've got the Amish again, and it's difficult for them. You know, they have to hire somebody to take them generally to a store because the stores are just too far for them to take a horse and buggy. Do we need to think about allowing a store in one of those places again, or someplace like that?
I do a lot of business in downstate Ohio, and it's 99% Amish. And you wouldn't believe the factories they have out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, sure.
Building anything you could imagine. So I can see this township with 200 families right now.
Probably well over that.
What's going to be in 20 years?
Yeah.
There's going to be 3,000 Amish here.
I suspect in 20 years it could be my place, plus a dairy farm on this side, Amish all around me, and then another dairy farm on the other side.
These guys build trailers, motorhomes, furniture up the game.
Yeah. We got the same skill set here.
Is it actually Amish that own them factories then?
No.
Yeah,
Well, do you think it is?
yep. Yeah, they drive cars and tractors, bicycles.
Different levels.
So it's gonna move.
Different levels.
Yeah, when I go down, I can't hire an Amish kid around here right now at the Yukon.
That's right.
Down there, when I'm down there, I can take a truckload home, working for 2 weeks. There's no jobs. Even though there's a schoolhouse every 3 miles, and their schoolhouses are huge.
Yeah.
They have stuff down there you wouldn't believe. And they donate money to the roads, since they don't have licenses. tear the roads up when they donate as a community, so. Down there, they're going to work, and I know in 20 years it's gonna be like that up there. And the tourists they get is unbelievable.
The Amish here don't want that tourism.
It's gonna happen. When that beacon
Sure.
dies, you know, we all used to have a horse.
And the Amish has got the one store down on
Yeah.
Robinson.
Robinson Road.
And then you got the one bakery in Kansas
That's
City.
right.
They don't have any groceries, but there'll probably be another one to show grow.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to have some industrial, and I suggest 53 as your main corridor for commercial. Because in 20 years, you're gonna have people out of the city gonna come up for the weekend. There's a company right now looking in Cass City to build another hotel. As they anticipate.
I'm surprised there's not a big Amish restaurant someplace around, not necessarily Amish. only.
Right, well, there's one down there that flat me out, you'd be like this at the end of the week. Unbelievable cooking.
Oh, yeah.
The produce shed that was built this year, that is not Amish owned. And that's organic.
Yeah.
And
But right down the road, there's a trucking company that hauls the stuff up. You know, they're commercial. They're hauling Amish. So it's gonna progress. Nothing stays the same.
Yeah, and like it or not like it, it's happening.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
You know, and that's our job then, is to look at that and decide what we want to do with it. Do we want to enhance it, do we want to make it easier, or do we want to make it tougher?
Because there'll probably be a Dollar General at 53 and 81 right there. Hope they bring an Arby's.
Well, and their big problem now is they do not want to take their buggies on M53 or across that 53. So they need something on the east side, and the Midnight Store and the little store on Robinson Road are the only possibilities. And that's a long ways. The Mennonite store is too far to go with a horse and buggy. The Amish store probably isn't too far. But I think even those that go there hire somebody to drive there.
They don't have refrigeration, it's Amish store, Robinson.
They wouldn't. You know, and they're citizens too. We need to be watching out for their welfare. They're certainly not going to come and complain. But we need to be careful that we're not hurting them in any way.
But do we need to have somebody here, though, just to look after their interests?
And we could do that.
Amish person, I mean, and their leaders. They won't do it.
If you got the right one, they would. They'd come.
I've asked more than one. They don't want to get to politics.
No, I know they don't. But you know, we've had a number of picnics and so on. And I found out who to ask. You ask Mrs. Miller.
Plant the seed there.
And they'll be there. If you ask Mr. Miller, no, we don't do that. Okay, want to think about that. You know, is there any place else in the township that we would consider the possibility and consider it appropriate for them to put in a store? Keeping in mind, perhaps, that there's quite a growing clientele in Pepperville too, with no place for those people to get snacks or supplies or gasoline or whatever. Small business. This is one of my pet projects, not a pet peeve, a pet project. I would love it if we would have just, well, lots and lots more small businesses or home businesses. I guess I shouldn't combine the two. Let's stick with small business. Small business are those businesses that do cater to people who live in the township. Now, it would be like the mom and pop grocery store, the local gas station. It could be like on the corner here, fencing supplies, all of those things. As opposed to a racetrack. I don't know, maybe a racetrack would cater some to local people, but I think of that more as people coming in from outside. But I'd like to see, you know, by definition, a small business is one where you drive past it and can't tell that it's a business. You know, maybe it's a hairdresser, or maybe it's somebody fixing cars in the garage in the backyard, or you know, something like that. And then home business. The home business is the one where you're not supposed to be able to tell that it's a business. You know, you can fix cars, but when you're done fixing them, you can't park them out in the front yard with a for sale sign on them. You know, because then it looks like a car lot. And we don't want it to look like a car lot, we want it to look like a home. And then a subdivision, is there any place that we would be willing to put a subdivision? We've never talked about that before. We've talked about a mobile home village. What about a subdivision?
It's been suggested in earlier meetings, the nice high and dry is east of Coal Carbide.
Yeah.
It's all gravel underneath, beautiful basement drainage,
Yep.
and it could go back quite a long ways on that ridge.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, you can't designate a small area, it's gotta be a positive area.
Yeah, it's got to be something usable. Doesn't have to be ideal, but usable. And again, the idea is not that somebody would be allowed to just go in there and automatically build a subdivision, but it gives us some negotiating power.
Doesn't that take away from the rural integrity that we want to maintain?
Yeah, all of these do. All of these do except the home business and maybe a mom and pop grocery store out where the Amish can use it. Yeah, that's not going to take away very much.
So would you say no to subdivision then, because you're taking away from the...
Oh,
Just thoughts?
if I am on the board when somebody wants to build a subdivision here, I'm going to make it as difficult for them as I can. And I feel the same way about a mobile home village. I'm going to make it as difficult for them as I can.
Well, can't you put in the master plan that says we don't want it at all?
No.
Yeah.
As soon as you do that, then they can come and put it wherever they want to. Because they go to circuit court says, I don't see any reason why not. Go ahead and do it. But this way, we've got it in the master plan, it's subject to our zoning, and we can negotiate.
If we put in the master plan, we don't want that, they can come in and make it anyway.
We have to make allowances for it to go someplace in the master plan.
And it has to be in the zoning ordinance.
Who says? So they can't keep them out completely.
No.
If it's in there, we don't have to accept it, right?
As long as it's in, then at least we can negotiate. Generally speaking, we can put such tough restrictions on it that they'll decide they don't want to do it.
Like a half an acre?
How about medical plant growing areas? Without saying marijuana, we probably mean marijuana, because there aren't many other types of plants that would cause us any concern.
Can I place it?
If you've been listening to the news,
Already got them.
we have, not legally.
Well, at least now they have them 30, 40 years, but we have people that legally have a license to do it.
Yes.
It's already
Isn't there a
here.
limit? Don't
Well-
they have a limit if they have a license? Don't they have a limit on how much they can grow for
Oh,
themselves?
yeah,
I
you're
would
allowed so
imagine,
many
I don't
plants and
know.
stuff. You're allowed so many, and that's it. State takes care of that.
You can take
You
all
can
the
only have
cards
so
for 12.
You can only have so many, yeah.
Yeah.
Have a 40-acre farm, but it's gotta be fenced. No site.
And I think it's still questionable whether it's legal. I think it's legal under state law, but illegal under federal law.
Right, and it's December 15th or something, I gotta reapply or something.
Yeah.
Now, there's a good question. Does the township have any control over that, or is that all regulated by the state?
I would say it's agricultural.
I talked to a guy by Reese, and he grows it, he's got all the stuff. I asked him, "Did you go to the township board for approval?" He said, "I don't have to." I said, "What do you mean? I don't have to, the state takes care of it. Township doesn't have nothing to do with it." He said, "It's all state mandated and ran by the state."
So the state approves if you can
Yeah,
plant a
approval.
40-acre or 80-acre field?
Well,
The state mandates that?
state controls it. He's only allowed so many plants. How to explain that? So many plants and so many,
Square feet.
well, it's square feet, then depends how many people that he gets on his thing, too. It's got to be fenced, so you can't see it going by or nothing like that. Doesn't have to have a roof on it as long as you can't see the plants grow. And they spot check it all the time, he says.
Or plain spot check? Or,
They come there.
The sheriff's department does. My neighborhood's checked out. I got no websites on it. Where's it?
well,
Not to mention many names.
Well, he's at the township, and it's nothing.
well, what's interesting is I was reading an article in the Huron Tribune, and out in Colorado, of course, it's legal. And this lady has kids that live out there, and she went to visit them. And when we had the sheriff gentleman here a month ago, he talked about, you know, our crime is down in Sanilac County, our crime is down in Greenleaf Township. That woman said she went out to visit. She said they don't tell you how many homeless people there are, how the crime rate is up. All of that is covered up.
Right.
So just beware that if you open that up in this township, our crime rate is going to go up.
We have no say over it. It's a state issue.
It's already here. They're already, we have no say.
I'd like to hear that from the
Program
state.
out there where the federal government hires you to grow it.
I said, no.
I hear what you're saying. They say if you're looking for a job, go to Colorado, because if you're looking for a job with any company that does any drug testing at all, they can't find enough people down there. Yeah, I would not like to see it happen. I'll tell you what my bigger,
More or less, it'll pass the test.
what my immediate concern is here. Without mentioning any names, I think we have a neighbor that's probably engaged in the business, and for some reason, those people that are engaged in that business like to have pit bull dogs to protect them, and those pit bull dogs get kind of vicious, and I'm afraid that one of the little Amish kids walking to school is going to get mauled. Because they have to walk to school right past that operation and those pit bulls. It all goes together, and that scares me. Well, let's do some checking on that and find out whether we do have any say in it at all.
Where do you even start on something?
Well, probably the county prosecutor.
Well, he said, that sheriff said to start with the drug control task force, the drug task force. So there's a start.
When they apply, the police come out, everybody comes out, inspects it, yep, you're good to go, or you're not.
How about solar? Any areas
It
in
doesn't
the
work
township,
very good, but let's put some in.
any areas in the township where we would or would not want to allow solar panels?
And doesn't that give
Solar
up?
farm, not just,
Yeah,
Sort of.
probably 20 to 40 acres.
Yeah, the only place they're gonna do is where a big transmission line is.
and we're
I don't even know if 53 would handle it.
Right now, we're too far, but 4 years from now,
Would be too many hours to get
Their storage.
They've got their little solar panels.
Right now, they're trying to contract directly around substations.
You're right, right.
Is the only place
Over in Austin, they got contacted. You know, the farmer's gonna get, was it 1,200 an acre for 20 years? Whatever it was, it's ridiculous. It's pretty hard to hold that guy back from giving his land up to back taxes or, you know, buying a home up north, so. And eventually the government will mandate it once we get the Democrat back in there.
Don't those things give off radiation? That is what I heard up in Huron County when I was reading some articles, that they give off radiation. So do we really want something like that around your families, your Amish community, your own personal
Well,
families?
if you also designate there on the south side of 81 behind Weiss, that's industrial, that's industrial. There you go. It's a twofer.
Yep.
There's a main grid there. Set it up there.
That's a real possibility. And then what about wind? Wind turbines.
We do have a lot of open land, but the power grid is the biggest problem.
Yeah. Unless they,
Forestville Road, there's big wide hills there.
unless they improve microwave technology, and then there's no place that's safe. And they get so they can beam the electricity from one tower to another,
Yep.
then they can take it anywhere.
I want to make a comment off the grid here. I stopped in to see Greg Guzza a couple nights ago, and his son is starting to get some feeling in his 1 foot, and the steering wheel didn't cut it. The pressure cut the muscle on the leg.
His tendons.
And they're going to put plates in his leg shortly if they haven't already did it. And he was very positive.
He's come around good. His kidneys are taken back over.
Yes, yes. And
Talking to
when
that.
I was there, he said I'd see you Thursday night, but he didn't show.
I talked to Greg about noon today.
Okay.
He's still in Ann Arbor. They're gonna do some surgery, and that's gonna determine whether or not, the way it looks, if they can't save that, he wouldn't even have enough to put an artificial leg on. So they're hoping this surgery tomorrow or Saturday.
Eric said it was for
It's
him.
gonna determine.
He was quite positive the other night they're going to save it, but like you said, that's that.
He sent me a loan today. Make understand it, but
Well, before our next meeting, I would like you to be thinking about other things that we need to consider. This was just a list that I wrote down this morning. And there may be other things. There may be some things coming down the pipe that I have no idea about.
Technology's changing so fast.
Yep. And we're supposed to review our master plan every 5 or 7 years. And I can see where we may want to review it every 2 years or every 6 months, or, because it's changing so quickly. And And the reason that we need to review it is because whatever we decide here, then we write the zoning ordinances to support this. Okay, is there anything else we need to do? I just wanted you to start thinking about these things. Next meeting time will be the third Thursday in December. Is that a bad time to meet? Because we don't have to. Or we can just have a short meeting.
And I was at the meeting last night, and the next meeting was going to be the 15th of November.
And you said, I'm not going to be there.
I said, if my son gets a deer, or I get a deer, I'll take care of mine, he's gonna have to take care of his. I'm not gonna do it.
Okay, any questions or comments before we adjourn? Yes.
I have a question about the property that Township sold, the 20-some acres up here. First, what is that zone? Commercial, industrial,
How
residential?
far away is that? That's more than a quarter of a mile, isn't it? So that would be zoned ag residential, I believe.
We advertise it as residential/commercial. We put a sign out
And
there.
there's commercial on both sides of it. I live in your dad, and all I gotta do is come in and it can be.
It would be commercial in a hurry if it were.
I think it would just have to be put back in a commercial. I don't know what it is right now.
And as I see all the trees are gone, has anybody been approached of what's going on there?
He's putting, like Rasmussen's got down here. Ingram bought it, and he's got his own fleet of trucks,
So
tankers.
he's
So
gonna have to
basically,
zone change.
same thing that Rasmussen has further down is basically what he's doing.
So he's gonna have to approach that as zoning change to commercial or industrial.
Commercial would cover that.
Commercial.
I would think so, yes. And just a reminder, any commercial land use applications have to come before this board. That doesn't mean we get to approve or reject. That's still up to you. But you have to at least present them to us so we know what's going on. The idea being that sometimes these get so big that you really need two people looking at it.
You're having them just like a special use permit, 2 point. Before the board, before the.
That's what the zoning ordinance says, unless we want to change it. Okay, any other discussion?
Yeah. Is there any word on the Indians taking over the Indian rights?
You know, I haven't heard anything on that.
See, they put the signs back up, no hunting.
Oh, were those down for a while?
Yeah, they were down.
What bothers me is the no fishing. I don't understand that.
If you walk back there.
You're gonna catch somebody on a hook when they walk by. That's my favorite fishing spot.
I would like to see the Mount Pleasant come over and build a building over it and have powwows, you know, education.
What about when they come and build a casino next to it?
Right across the street from my place.
Walk over, Candy.
Well, about 4 years ago, there was an effort on the part of the DNR. It looked like they were trying to turn control of the petroglyphs over to the Chippewa Indian tribe. And at that time, I think they were reminded that the deeding it over to the state said that if it never was to be sold or deeded over to anybody else, that the previous owner had first options. And I think they decided then not to do it. The previous owner, I think, was maybe the Carroll Historical Society. I know the Goulds were very involved in that. So I don't think it really is an option at this point. I think they would need permission from some other people before they could deed it over. Now, I'll tell you, my suggestion is that the carvings on the petroglyphs are becoming more and more faint all the time. I would like to seed and allow the Indians to come in and deepen those
I
gardens.
did read in the paper that they were in negotiations with the DNR and they wanted to recarve the
Good.
condition.
Because I thought I was the only one saying that. I met there about, 4 weeks ago with the state archaeologist, and we talked about various ways of saving those, and I suggested the possibility of making like a latex cast. And he said, well, he said they had somebody coming in with some very exacting photography equipment, and they were going to take pictures, and they could get the distances, the depths, down to a real small amount. And so then we talked about the possibility of 3D printing some of those. And so they said they would get back to me on it. Not that I've got a 3D printer, but I'd figure out some way to do it. I'd get one in a hurry, but they haven't gotten back to me on it. So I don't know what's happening there.
We have a motion to adjourn yet?
We have a motion to adjourn.
Yes.
You just made it. Supported?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Those in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, the same?